What's up, you guys? Welcome to another SHARKNEWZ episode, as today is August 4th, 2025. And what does that mean? It basically means we have officially 10 days left before the GIJOE Classified HASLAB SLOWCAT comes to an end in terms of its crowdfunding. So, as we can see here, I'm on the official Hasbro Pulse website, and we're going to briefly just take a look at everything that we know so far, because it's nothing new that we haven't already discussed and talked about during any of my live streams. So at the time of making this video, it says we have 10 days and 7 hours and 28 minutes left. And as of right now, we are at 7,705 backers out of the goal of 8,000 backers. Now, I will be very optimistic and say that because we only have 10 days left, we're already officially confirmed, at least we can guarantee that the Haslab Snowcat is officially funded. It won't take too long to get an additional 100 backers, because we still have all the other additional people who haven't backed it yet. So we know for a fact that it's going to fund, so we can already congratulate everybody for getting to the official target of 8,000 backers. Now, where the situation gets a little bit tricky is the fact that will we reach the other tiers? Now, that's where it's going to get a little bit more concerning, because in order to get the other tiers, we still have to get to 10,000 backers for Lady J. We have 12,000 backers for the Bivouac, and then 14,000 for the Flint figure, Arctic Flint. So I'm going to guess or assume that we will probably reach close to the 10,000 backer mark and probably unlock Lady J. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Yeah, so we have Lady J here at 10,000 backers. I feel like we might hit this, and I think that's probably as far as we're gonna go in terms of unlocking tiers. I feel like the Bivouac, which again is at the 12,000 backer mark, will be a huge stretch, and then getting towards Flint will probably be impossible to do. Now, again, I don't want to be completely a pessimist and say that, you know, collectors don't deserve any of these, because like I mentioned before, if this does fund within the 10 days, within the 8,000 backers, I will tell you, for $325, you are kind of getting the low end of the stick, in the sense that you're paying more for less. Whereas if you had all of these tiers funded, regardless whatever your views are, if you hate the Bivouac or not a fan of the two Arctic figures, at least that's all allocated inside the $325 price point. Therefore, you know, with all the tooling that they quote unquote say that they need, especially with all the sausages and the fish and the eggs and the coffee cups and the ice, which is basically where all the tooling went into, you know, it kind of just plays into the field of having all those being in the price tag of $325. Now, of course, the vehicle is pretty massive. You are getting Frostbite, which is, you know, a really great incentive. However, many people have made the you know, great observation on this you know, vehicle, that aside from the cool extra, you know, like the windshield that has Frostbite on it, or, you know, no pun intended, and then the blue LED lights and etc., there are some things that I do want to quickly just go over, because you know, you're basically just getting missiles, you're getting snowboards for the missiles and all these extra little compartments, but you know, people want more firepower, and we're not getting that with this Snowcat, which I think is also a huge downfall for it. And of course, they did say that, or Emily did say that the wheels will be colored. I hope it's not just this muted gray that we see right here, but hopefully they will update it and give us like a colored variation, so that would be more worth your money. Otherwise, one of the things I do want to talk about, which I will mention in a future video, but a lot of people said that they wanted to have the Haslab to be, you know, either a G.I. Joe vehicle, or even if it's like the Mobat or Mauler or whatever. Now, if you put those figures aside, those vehicles aside, if we look at the Thunder Machine, even because we're already doing the Joe vehicle this year, but let's just say they were doing the Thunder Machine. Now that would have made a lot more logical sense, and the reason why I say this is because if they were to do the Thunder Machine, you have Thrasher as a base tier figure. That would have made so much more sense simply because roughly all the Dreadnoks have already been made. So you're basically leading up to all those figure reveals and releases of Dreadnoks, and then you get to the Thunder Machine, which is kind of like, for all you wrestling fans, the WrestleMania of completing your Dreadnoks team. So that makes a lot more sense because, again, you're leading up to a very pivotal Dreadnoks vehicle when you have already all those figures revealed. With the Haslab Slowcat, you're basically going in reverse. You have Snowjob, which was released like a year ago. We had no Arctic figures to build up the Snowcat. And then you have the Slowcat here. And then you're giving us Frostbite. But then this vehicle isn't coming out until, as it says right here, it's not coming out until... where the hell is this date? Fall of 2026. So we have an entire year before this comes out. And they just recently announced ICEBERG at San Diego Comic-Con. So now it's like, okay, they're building this weird type of FOMO where it's like, now they're going to slowly trickle in these ice characters and they're going to say, haha, you didn't fund this, for those who didn't. Now you won't have this vehicle to go with it, but here are all these other Arctic characters. So they're basically playing in reverse. Now what I would have really done to make this more special is they should have revealed or released a bunch of Arctic characters, and I know they usually do all these Haslabs like a year in advance in terms of planning, but to make it more enticing and more worth the time and value and price and etc., is that they should have revealed all these different ice and Arctic characters throughout the year, and then be like, okay, well, you guys have collected all these snow characters. Now here's the big payoff, is you're getting the Snowcat with Frostbite. That would have been a great incentive of saying, hey, we already have all these snow characters. Now we're getting a snow vehicle. Just like how I said, we have all these Dreadnoks. Now a Thunder Machine would have been extremely ideal. But because we have the lack of snow characters, it's a very niche group. It's a niche terrain vehicle. It's not, like I mentioned before in my previous live stream, that all the G.I. Joe vehicles right now, and like we have the Vamp, we have the Ram Cycle, we have the Dragonfly, any other green vehicle that we have right now, like a Mobat, would have made extreme more sense because we also have Hawk with the MMS. We have the original 13 coming out roughly. We have the Steeler and SHORTFUSE 2-pack. So all the green aesthetics would have worked so well within the classified line if the Mobat was, the tank was out. But because they jumped the shark, no pun intended, and gave us a snow vehicle, to me personally, it does not make any sense. They're barely marketing this thing. They're not even giving us like, hey, here's like a bonus something. I know they're not going to, but they're not even communicating this very well. The display at San Diego Comic-Con sucked ass. It was probably a disgrace to the Haslab. But again, we still have to wait until the last remaining day or a day and a half after the 10 days are over, because that's when the numbers really trickle in. But for the time being, as we're only 10 days away, it's only 7,705, and let's quickly refresh this. 707, so we just got 2 more new backers. So we know that this will fund, but will we get to the actual Lady J, which again, we're going to need an additional 2,000 backers. It's possible we might get Lady J, but the other 2 is going to seem like a very big stretch. However, nothing is impossible. We never know. Maybe something magical will happen and all these tiers will unlock in like the final few hours. Because again, FOMO and classified will go both hand in hand. We will talk more about this in a future live stream, but other than that, that's basically your Haslab update for Monday, August 4th. So again, this is, like I said, we have 10 days left. Let's see what happens, because it's currently funding, and this Slowcat has been probably one of the worst, slowest tier fundings that I've ever seen in G.I. Joe Classified. Again, remember, the Rattler and the Dragonfly were funded within like roughly a week and a half, or probably less. The His Tank was funded within 8 hours. This took us an entire month and a half, basically more than a month or about a month to fund. So it's quite embarrassing, but I feel like I hope the GI Joe team really realizes the mistake they've made, and for next year they do better, because this was probably not the best way to go. But otherwise, just in advance, congratulations to everyone, because it is going to be unlocked. But will the other tiers be unlocked? We don't know. We're going to find out soon and shortly. So I want to thank you guys all for watching. Be sure to give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next episode.